So with that saved, I'm probably going to look at doing the screen, seeing as it's such a big focal point. I'm quite eager to get that in place. So just looking at our model now, I would say there is a slight curve going on each side of the screen on the actual image. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, just like we did with adding these divisions in here, I'm going to add 2 on this side and 2 on that side. So I'm going to go to Mesh Tools, Insert Edge Loop, 2 there, and 2 there. Select them 2, and select these 2. And then I'm going to go to the front, and I'm going to scale these out together using the Scale tool, and just give it that really slight curve to it. So you can see there that using the Scale tool with the front one and the side one selected, again on that side, I'm going to scale it out a little bit just to give it a little bit of a ridge. There you go. So that gives us a slight curve, and it also allows us to have much more regular edges. So we have some condensed edges here where the edges get really small, but for the most part all these edges here across the edges and across the tops and the bottom, they're all pretty much the same size. What you don't want is having big wide edges and thin edges kind of converging together, because you get these sharp points that you can't really get rid of. We will be condensing these into probably 2 edges anyway, just to start cutting down the poly count anyway. So I will select all these edges, and I know that we've got 26 edges selected here. You can do that just by literally just going around and counting each edge, 1, 2, 3, 4, 20, and you go around and you count 26. So I know that I've got 26 edges there, and there's 2 ways we can make a screen. We can either make it by, I will do a duplicate of this, move them off to the side, get rid of the grid for a second. We can do this by either making the inside of the screen first to give it some 3D. We can either do this by extruding in and bringing everything in like that, which you've gone through in class, which is a really quick way of doing a screen. But what you do get these sort of sharp edges appearing. Even in soft select, you do get these sharp edges appearing. Now, because our character is going to be a shaderless texture, which means we're not actually going to have any light in this, we're going to paint it so it's lit itself. That necessarily won't come into play, because obviously no lights are in the scene to make these hard edges appear. So that's one way of doing it. Another way is, and that's why we need to know how many edges we have, is making a plane. Okay, so we just had a bit of a memory problem then. So I Camtasia stopped recording for about 20 minutes. So I was just explaining to myself apparently how to do this. This is so that we create a screen. I'll just go over that again. So we can either do the extrusion inwards, and then extrusion inwards, and then add the subdivisions, which will then give us our curve to our screen. Like I was saying, as this is going to be a shaderless texture, we don't necessarily need to worry about this. Obviously inside an engine, triangles struggle rendering on some curved surfaces because it doesn't know how to calculate the light as well as a quad, or a tessellated quad. But you can get that curve of the screen very easily and quickly, obviously because our guy's got that really nice old CTR tube TV curve. The other way of making it this way is a little bit more finicky, and it makes a little bit more, it needs a little bit more TLC to get the curve, but you do get everything in nice quads. So Let's try and get back up to that stage. Oh. I'll use a TV to show you again. So one thing I've done is I've extruded inwards so that we get the nice 3D geometry of going in and then coming out. And one of the first things I did is I went around and the middle of these beveled edges here, the middle corner of each one of them, I just went around, selected it, and then hit this key here. This is collapse. So with that edge selected, I hit that, and then that collapses it into one triangle. I know I just said that we need to avoid using triangles, but in this case, we could probably do with just getting rid of him. And in fact, yes, I would actually say, I've not done it on this one, but I'd actually say as well, collapse that corner edge as well. Oh, I do it. Well, this one's up to you. You can either just collapse the interior corner, or you can also collapse the sort of outer rim interior corner as well. Now you will still keep the definition on the screen, on the actual case of the screen, so you will keep a really nice curved bevel there, but on the interior where the screen is, you will lose that and it will become a little bit more low poly. This being a super low poly character as it is, might not really mean anything, might not really change anything. Even if you just want to go around and just collapse each one of these edges and give this corner a really sharp edge in general, you know, you could do that if you wanted to. You're still getting that curve. It's just a little bit more noticeably rigid. So I'm just going to set that back. And I'm going to keep it, for now, I'm just going to keep it like this, just cause. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to select all these edges and collapse. There you go. Now when we collapse, we do actually change the flow, obviously. So if I take that last one, you can see that this is like a really nice curve there. And as soon as I collapse it, I said as soon as I collapse it, you can see there it kind of like ridges out a little bit. It becomes a little bit less smooth. And that's happened to all these different corners. Now one thing we only have to do for that, the only thing we have to do for that is just go around and select all the vertex, and just using the scale tool, just kind of finesse those back into a really nice curve. There you go. There we go. So what I did with this is I made a plane first. I just go up here, make a plane, shift drag, and it will create it there. Oh, well, because I'm moving off, if yes, I'll do it on the main row, but I'll do it on this one, so I'll just go around again. Sorry. I'll do all them, and then just move them back into place. One kind of thing, just to say that I get the impression from a lot of people is every clip you make doesn't have to be a perfect one. It's perfectly cool to just stall and kind of think about it a minute. There are a million ways of making anything in 3D. There's no hard and fast way. What I'm showing you here is the way I would make it. Another person would make it completely differently, depending on what their kind of skill set and their tool set and what sort of tools you like using is. So this is just the way I like making it. Or the way I feel most comfortable making it, because this gives me the control that I want. So just going back, I can get rid of that one. Just going back, I'm going to make a plane again. Right, so it's off center there, so I know I'm going to have to change it in the x-axis to 0. You can have it back there. And I'm just going to move that forward, and using the side reference, I'm just going to bring it out to about there, where the actual like limit of this curve of the screen is. And from the front, I'm going to make it a little bit big. I'll make it about maybe that, and scale it out a little bit. So if I turn on wireframe again, I'm going to take notice of these divisions up here and these divisions here. Okay. So if we look at this, you can see that I've gone and added some subdivisions, added some edge loops, so I can then bridge them to these edges, and then I was going about to do the exact same thing to these. I'll show you how to do that. So I've made this, so I'm going to go into my mesh tools, insert edge loop option box, change that to a 1, and then just go in and add that center line, and just kind of come back. Just scale that up a little bit, so it's kind of you're starting to imply the curve of the screen a little bit. I'm going to go back into that tool, add one at either side, and just scale them out a little bit. So you can see kind of what I'm aiming for now. So these will then connect to this one, these will then connect to these, and then I'll add some more over here. Okay. Yeah, I'm just thinking how I did that then, trying to remember. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and add another 2 divisions down this middle. Yep. I'm going to scale them out. Right, yep, this is making sense now. So I'm going to take these 2 ones I've just created there and scale them up, because these edges, these 2 edges here will connect with these 2 edges here, and I'll do the same for these 2 edges I've made before and scale them out. I'll just take these 2 sides in general, I'll just scale them out so they kind of fit more with the screen. I'm just kind of really forcing them into some rough position first, and then I'm going to move them around to fit the flow of the screen later on. So now I need to add back those divisions here. That's what I was kind of thinking about before. There you go, and I'm going to scale them up and down just to get that screen shape in there. And then I'm going to add 2 across the width, so that we can start connecting to them ones. Okay. Yep. Okay, cool. So yeah, this is a flat plane, and obviously the screen is a very curved surface. So when we first do this next step, it will look a little bit janky, but using just thought out procedures, we can then next just move these vertex into place to follow the shape of this screen. Okay, so what we're going to do now is going to select both the head and the plane of the screen. I'm going to go up to this button here. This is our combine tool, so click that combine, and then these are now one object. Well, the one group, they're not one object just yet. We're going to make them one object in a second. So I'm going to look at this top part of the screen here. Let me get rid of this toolbar. I'm going to look at this top part of the screen here, and I want to connect that to this part of the screen here. So I'm going to start from actually these 2 center edges. What I'm going to do is go into edge mode, just select them 2, and then I'm going to select the 2 corresponding ones on the plane like that. So we should have 4 selected, and they should be kind of in line with each other. I'm going to go up to this tool here, the bridge tool. I'm going to click that. Now by default Maya does make 5 divisions, which is really annoying, but all you have to do, you get another one of these option boxes up. All you have to do is go over the divisions, drag it all the way to the left, so it's 0. You can see there that we've made a solid connection now. So this is now all one solid object. So I'm going to go down and do the exact same for down here. Select these 2 and then select them 2. Hit bridge. Oh, a bit of thinking there. I hope memory doesn't falter again in a minute. So then I just moved, then obviously it started off with 5 divisions. I just grabbed that divisions and moved it back, so we got 1 plane. There you go. So now I'm going to go up to these this edge here and do the exact same thing. I'm anchoring it in like the big areas, like these big broad areas first before I do the smaller areas, because I will need to do some moving around here of the vertex, but as long as these big areas are connected first, that's what I'm more concerned about. There you go. See them two done. Ooh. There you go. There you go. So now you can see here we've got two edges meeting two edges. Two edges meeting two edges. There you go. Come down there and fix these two. There you go. There we go. Cool. So what we've done there is we've actually made an edge loop of, oh, I've forgotten two edges here. Silly me. There you go. So you can see there we've made two edge loops going around. I've made an edge loop going around. So the screen is now nice and sealed into this, and we've got nice quads. We've got no triangles that might upset the flow of the screen, but it is boxy. So what we've got to do, well, first what I'm going to do actually, because we've not saved in a while, is I'm going to go, don't just press Control S. What Control S does is it overwrites your last save. And our last save, you can see up here, Autodesk Maya 16, D drive in work, Maya TVBOY 2 scenes, TVBOY 1. So we know that our last save was TVBOY 1, and the little asterisk above it means that something's happened and it's ready for a new save. So I'm actually going to go to File and look here. Now here you can see the shortcuts. So save scene just overrides. Control Shift S saves as a new scene, and it brings up this box. There is an incremental save, which is what we're doing. There is an incremental save. You can absolutely just use that if you want to. I've come, just personally for me, I've come to want to save myself. So I don't want to rely on an incremental save shortcut. I want to go in and save it myself. It's an old school, having messed up so many times, I want complete control over my work. The less things in the way to maybe mess up, the better for me. So, getting back to the screen. So you can see that, you know, the screen's connected. It's all looking nice and good. So we can go around now and just start selecting these edges and just start moving them back, scaling them out and stuff. So at this point we're using our own sort of artistic eye to kind of think, right, this is an old tube TV screen, it's all bulbous. Obviously this is a stylized character, so this is an extra bulbous screen. So we just need to go around and come on, thank you, and select these edges and start moving them into position, scaling them up, maybe move them back so they're a bit softer. So I'm doing this with edges. You can do this with vertex. You know, you can we can grab vertex and move those. You can do this by faces. So if we want to scale these two faces up a little bit more, do that by that. Any way that you feel comfortable in adding definition to the like shape to the screen, that's perfectly cool. So just a quick pass. You know, the screen looks pretty good there. I would probably go in, if I look from the front, I'd probably go in and round off these corners here so that the screen is much more this sort of shape. Now what I would do is, if you're selecting something on this side, select the opposite on this side as well. And that's why I was using the scale tool. So I just grab one on either side and I'm literally scaling it in uniform. So like these, I'd grab these together, scale them in uniform. and just make sure I'm kind of getting that fisheye like quality to a lens or to a screen. You know, cool. So if I take off wireframe now, you know, that's looking pretty good. You are getting these sharp edges here because we've not actually changed the normals. We've not told it to smooth anything just yet, so that's why we're getting them sharp edges. So don't worry about them just yet. So I'd say that's the head done for the most part. I mean, we can go and do a little bit of TLC and clean some stuff up.